This is Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. We enthuse, we energize, we inspire, and we empower entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs of all stripes in BW and beyond. Dumela Motswana wetu, Motu wetu, and wherever you are watching from internationally and elsewhere, welcome to another episode of Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. Always a thrill, a source of great excitement for me to bring in yet another entrepreneur to come and share lewena. And today, I mean, really, you're going to love this guy. His name is Joseph Badubi Badubi, and you know him from Overcast Overview podcast. Yeah. Sorry about that. And I'm just thrilled he's agreed to interview me, and you'll find out more about him as we carry on. But for now, just do me that small favor, look for that little red button, that notification bell, as well as the subscribe button. We need the followers, guys. We cannot survive without you. Let me make it clear, in this medium, you are nothing without your viewers. So we need your support. And can I take this time, sir, to welcome you to the studio?
Thank you so much for having me, sir. It's quite an honor to be here.
Yeah. No, would you care to just tell the viewers about yourself, share a little bit of background, and give them the juicy stuff as well?
Hey, actually, my name is like everyone knows me as Joseph Badubi Junior, and that's the name that I've decided to run with. My Joey comes from Joseph. Like my first name is Joseph, so Joey was like a pet name. Joey Joe, and then it stuck. Joey was a name in so it stuck, and then I decided to use it like as a brand name and all that.
I didn't know you have a name very similar to mine, Muluki.
Yeah, Muluki.
Yeah.
Yes. That's a name in what I was actually my grandparents, my mother's parents.
Okay.
Joseph is, as I said, I'm Joseph Badubi Junior. Joseph is my father's name. So like I'm learning Joseph, so I'm Joseph Junior. I grew up between Palape and Malepololi. Palape, that's where my dad comes from. And they were staying in Palape when I was born, and then unfortunately he died when I was 5 years old.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. So we had to relocate to Malepole. Like the family had to relocate to Malepole the following year, and then I stayed in Malepole for like 7 years. That's where my mom comes from. My mom came to Malepole. My dad came me go Palape.
Yes.
So I always say that Malepole is my home village, Palape is my hometown.
Makes sense.
So, and then we relocated back to Palape after 7 years, and then that's where I finished my schooling, and then I came to GAPS.
Okay.
There.
What about training and academics?
Academics, I started my primary go Palape for I think standard one, first term standard one Nikelko Palape, and then we relocated to Malepole. Nikelko Malepole until Kifeta standard 6. And then standard 7 I went back to Palape. Junior school Palape. I still say my junior schooling ko Mapula CGSS ko Palape is my best period of schooling, like in my life, and then high school I went to Lotsane ko Palape. And then after high school I took a gap year. My mom was very ill, school, so I had to take a gap year and all that. And then from there, after, I don't know if it was after, I'm not too sure if I took 2 or 3 gap years. And then I went to Boto University.
Okay.
I went to study accounting. AAT.
Okay. So you're an accountant, Daria?
I'm an accountant, but the funny thing is that I know nothing about accounting because I never practiced.
And you know enough not to get knocked by other people. It's helpful.
That. But if you come with the book, say I'm not, because I finished at 2015 and Total, like I didn't really finish. I dropped out of school because I could tell, or you know what, my heart and my mind, they were elsewhere. Like media has always been my.
So what did you do when you dropped out?
I dropped out of school. With accounting, I was doing AAT. With AAT by that time, you can. What's a level? Level 2, level 3, diploma, stuff like that. So school hits level 3, for instance, and then hit level 4. And then so I had to finish the period course, but because I hated the whole course. I don't know if I'm making sense.
Yes.
And then I finished the period, but because I hate. So from there I had to start hustling.
That means you just didn't sit for the exams, isn't it?
Just
spend all that time but never set the exams.
I sat for exams. It's like it's a bit complicated. Total, like my mind and heart it wasn't there. I felt like, you know what, I need to be elsewhere. This is not where I have to be.
So how did media suck you in, so to speak?
Media has always been something, you know, watching TV, you get influenced by almost everything that you see on TV. So I've always been into radio, TV, so I'd say that has always been my passion. And then after, like in I would still go to radio stations knocking. You know, I'd still go to BTV knocking, you know, like I would get rejected all the times, you know, until and then I get
what was your selling point to them? No, as you're knocking.
Because I've always been this person. I've always thought outside the box from where we are. So I would look at things that were going on outside the country, and then I would say, you know what, I can bring this element into your station, into your radio show. You know, I can come do this. I think we need to do this. I would basically identify. For example, I would go to radio stations and then I would propose a segment, and then I would say, there was this other shows around the country about Duzidi Trendang, stuff like that. So there was a time like for me, like that's actually like the segment that I proposed. Or I think that the in Botswana, like that just hardcore news. Entertainment, the trends, gore se mamang really Mr. Mogobe I did 1 2 3 hale stuff like that. Black maloba. So you know, that's something that I proposed, and then they eventually loved it, and that's how I got into radio. Kwarbi too.
Okay.
But I have to mention that I was rejected a whole lot of times before, and by the same station and by other radio stations as well.
Okay.
So what's
your relationship with rejection or with failure? Because some of the toughest thing to appreciate or to deal with for most entrepreneurs is them having a terrible relationship with failure, where they see it as personal. How did you handle all these failures or this being turned away with Zama?
I would say for me, I was actually thinking of it the other day. I'd say church played a role in terms of me having a strong will. You know, there was like I said, from 5, my mom, she was very ill. You know, so as a kid, then, you know, you are confused. You are scared, thinking that your mom might pass away. And by that time, like, she's my only parent.
Yeah.
So I eventually found God, and then I went to church. So church taught me faith. Like they taught me, or you know what, failure is part of life. You know, for you to succeed, actually, like, you need to fail, because if you don't fail, you won't how from where you are, you know, one I'm comfort zoning. So for me, total rejection and failure, like, they never brought me back or anything. You know, I always knew. I have always been this person like neke follow about to like people by what I want to be like them. I would follow them, read about them, stuff like that, and I have noticed that almost all of them, like, they were rejected at some point. So rejection was just part of the game. Like, rejection was just part of the game.
So you were not devastated at any point?
Well, I was devastated, to be honest. Like, there are times saying after after reject you know, but you know what, at the end of the day, this is my life. Whoever rejected me doesn't owe me anything or whatsoever. Let me keep on pushing.
So you were in RB2 for how long, and how was the experience?
I was in RB2 for 2 years. The experience was very complicated. Like I said, I've always been a fan of radio, and then I got to be a fan of RB2 as a station. I loved RB2. That time, not only radio presenters, bo O'Neill, especially O'Neill, bo DJ Sly, bo Fresh Prince.
Those guys are legends.
You know, definitely. Bo Brian Dioka, the BMC PRO.
Okay.
You know, I was actually talking to him the other day. You have played a role. You have played a role. Thank you. Thank you so much. You know, I'm quite glad to have known people like you, because if it wasn't for you guys, push this much, because I always wanted to be like them, you know. And then me getting into RB2, it was a dream come true. I was happy. I was like, wow, I couldn't believe that I always dreamt of being here, and I'm here.
Wow.
You know. And
so I'm going to interrupt you and ask you, give those guys some flowers, man. Guys who impacted you, your heroes, and share a little bit how they actually facilitated your career at that point.
Like I mentioned, DJ Sly, bo Brian Dioka, bo Fresh Prince, bo O'Neill, bo even in South Africa, bo DJ Fresh for TV. I liked there's this guy called Tibo Touch, you know.
He's very active on social media.
You know, he's one guy who did on TV, and but one guy who played a major role in me getting into radio is DJ Govea, because he's the one who took me under his wing. You know, I guess he could see like the potential and the hunger that I have, and then, you know, like he put me under his wing, and then like he taught me almost everything that I know now. So Tata is one guy who played a major role, and then there's and then there's also the RB2 programs manager at the time. I don't know if he's still the programs manager now, but Fundi Raufor. I went to him before I actually went to Govea. He actually loved the idea that I came with, and then he's the one who was like, okay, no, check us mama, can you get like can he get you under his wing and all that.
Okay. So after the 2 years score, in fact, why did you leave RB2, and then what happened after that?
I left RB2 because like I said earlier, it was a very it was a dream come true for me to be there. But and then at the same time, you know, the place was very depressing, you know. Why? Because I don't know, but the environment, I think it wasn't too good for me at the particular time, because there was too much competition. You know, too much competition, too much sabotaging each other, too much. So for a kid who grew up arata that place, and then it's a
totally different.
You know, like a,
when you say grapevine, rumors and stuff,
I didn't
office politics,
sabotaging, didn't, you know. Today I'm with this guy. Okay, I get it now. I mean,
An easygoing guy.
Hey, I'm an easygoing guy. I'm just happy to be there. So I'm going to be welcoming towards everyone, you know. And then it's a problem. It's a problem. This and then, and when you're supposed to grow, you cannot grow because the mama indeed this and that and all that. So it became a very depressing place. Happy at the time, I was on radio from 2018. I think February, if I'm not mistaken. February or March.
Yes.
I have a 5-year-old son. He was born in March and Kaditeti. So at the same time, I get on radio. Like I had a very little kid. So
it's 5 years.
Yeah.
I have to stress something. We won 2018. Yeah.
2018. The same time, I get on radio. So with that going on, you know, having a kid at the same time, you know, trying to make a dream come true and all that. Plus, when you go, like where it's supposed to be the main thing, there's this grapevine, like the environment is toxic and all that. At the same time, I felt like there was no room for growth. You get it? Because I felt like I was caged. I couldn't apply the ideas that I have, you know. So and then eventually I had to say, you know what? Let me just quit radio and then leave the place and then quit radio and then try to like hake radio idea I want to do a podcast kind of something that has to do with digital media and all that. So those are the reasons why
so
I left.
Did you land when you jumped off radio?
Well, one thing with me is that everything that I do now is self-taught, you know. I would say that I taught myself by you know, I would actually imagine myself shadowing people. You know, I would actually imagining myself, for instance, shadowing you. So I would do as much to learn how do you do things, you know, how do you. So it's like, you know when you are a kid or so you would watch your dad or your uncle all the times, or okay, like how could you run some doing to change to get to when you get to drive, yes, we're on a bit shaky, but you won't be terrible as someone who is saying I observed those things before. So I would say that I took what I learned on my own. How would I say I was a natural, and then I would the experience in radio, like I apply and everything. Happened like for that 2 years, like radio, you know. I was also a blogger at the same time.
Wow.
You know, I was
Facebook.
Okay. Like I was also a blogger, and I'm also
blogging about what?
About especially about entertainment, you know, like more like what you call it, like more like a tabloid.
You still have that Facebook page?
Yes, it's it's there, but we changed it, like the name into something else, because when I reached that stage, like I felt like, you know what,
you got to what, 500,000 viewers?
No, I felt like okay, I get on home to so if I carry on with this tabloid thing, one day it's going to be me, people writing stuff about me. And then you know what, let me just leave this thing, you know. I was also I'm a writer as well, you know. I was also writing news and doing columns for the Botswana Gazette newspaper and all that.
You also mentioned you have a 5-year-old, and there's something you do in your program. You get a little bit personal. So here's my chance to extract a little bit of revenge. A taste of your own medicine.
Was it true then?
No, I'm kidding. But
well, Mr. Mogobe, I wouldn't say that I have game. I gonna man, no, Mr. Mogobe. I get blind more pushing, you know. Most of my relationships is whereby really high and then she was already interested, you know. So almost the similar thing like high, like I respond with a very positive response, and then you know.
It wasn't like you had a script or anything.
No, I actually the time still in gore ke pushitse ngwanyana la gore ke mo posa ke tla ka script botle ba nkgani.
Yeah, it puts them off,
because I'm not really good with that, you know. I like for me it's no, I
also think society has evolved now with social media and you know, the WhatsApp, and it's a lot easier to say, are you interested in a movie on WhatsApp? You know, and then you get things started. So right now you are you married or are you working on it or what?
No, I'm not married right now. You know, well, I would like to get married, you know, once I am able to. At the stage when you have when you have so many things that you're doing, like when you have a podcast that you're getting off the ground, it consumes a whole lot of your time. Like you sacrifice a lot. Like we sacrificed like a whole lot of things putting up this podcast, you know. We had to quit jobs, we had to go broke for a very long time. We had to it's
I think that's what a lot of people don't see. I mean, right now you're almost 30,000 you know, subscribers. You know, your interview Husky till 148,000 when I last checked. I mean, those are big numbers. So people tend to think, this guy is swimming in cash, and they don't really understand the process. So I'd like you to take a bit of time to open up and share those early days, those tough times of just getting the podcast started. Take us through the process.
Yeah, like I said before, I had to quit radio before and all the other hustles that I was doing on the side. Podcast you have to focus on it, because here is a new thing. If you had savings or whatsoever, I don't know how to spend anymore. So equipment like you channel everything there. So it means that at some point whatever that you have so you have something, you have this vehicle now. It's already moving and you cannot just leave it here. You have to invest more on your time, the energies and all that. So like I'm saying, we started from scratch with our own
started what, with a single camera, or you were using your iPhone or what?
Actually, like the camera like from a friend. You know, I keep on saying Ray because the podcast is not my project alone. I started like Chief Ghost, that guy owning behind the like the scene.
He doesn't look anything like a ghost or a chief. Yeah, but he's a chief ghost.
Yeah, so we started together.
He's a chief ghost in the sense that he doesn't appear.
Yeah, he's a ghost voice.
Yeah, ghost voice. Yeah,
exactly. So we started together, and then we had to borrow a camera, and then and then a camera. Like I said earlier, we started actually with this kind of equipment. And then like whatever that we had. And it wasn't an easy journey, you know. I wouldn't say it's easy because it's still quite challenging and quite demanding, you know. But for instance, like I said, like the finances, you have to sacrifice. This thing needs time, you know. When you started from the ground, like the resources then finances mighty. And then so like it requires time.
Finances to pay your team largely, isn't it?
Yeah, finances
finances
for equipment
and for yourself
to pay the team, like and for the running of the whole podcast and all that. And yes, for myself, you know. So those are the things still like. And then you have relationships because of what you are going through, or because of what you're doing. You cannot spend time with them like that, you know. So many plans have to be kept on hold. And it's not an easy thing to do. Like, it's very challenging.
What the challenges more YouTube generally, and which you've experienced with the media compared to maybe Nagwale, go Facebook and so on? Yes.
The first thing challenge is that YouTube is a very small medium in Botswana. You know, it's something saying or is accessible to the internet there. So obviously the numbers there are very small compared to other social media mediums. Bo Facebook, bo I think you wanna internet because I get bo Facebook let's say bo my social bo you can easily access them ka 5 pool or ka 15 pool for the whole week and then we level so but I think even because I did a survey even in SA because even in SA YouTube go ga di toropo hela but ko SA I get like they have like 60 million like the population now
is
so you can find or maybe Joburg alone has a population of 10 million so I lot about 3 million they have YouTube then like you are good like in other cities like Cape Town hella yeah.
And where do you have the largest number of subscribers and why?
We have the largest number of subscribers on Facebook followers. We have like we use on Facebook we use 2 pages like my page Joseph Badubi page. It has over 190,000 followers and then overview
so do you
radio.
Upload the entire interview into Facebook or you just get snippets like I do?
Well, Harry Simola nere tsenya both on Facebook and YouTube and then along the way now go Facebook or tsenya teasers snippets only
to redirect people to
and then traffic you tla be ya go YouTube now ke YouTube hela but sometimes re khona go tsenya like old videos gone like old episodes gone go Facebook you know but I get no malating what they do is that I've realized that what they do is that
who's they?
The viewers
yeah
ba ileng gore ha bana internet ko malapeng kana go ditirong they get to subscribe maybe kama 20 people and all that so they would go to the video then they download it like into their devices because I've realized that because there are times still in gore ha go sena the download button ba o mana tot ba o mana ba bua gore ai tlabana
tsenya button
bring back the button
find out who removed that button. Okay, maybe we should put it back
you know
because we never even had a meeting about it anyway.
So they would download we have realized okay no had this snippet go Facebook go TikTok go Twitter go Instagram YouTube is fine ha ile gore ha bana internet like they can always try to tsenya 20 people and then they download it and then they would watch like at their own time.
And Msanzi, how have you been received there?
It's quite interesting because we have viewers and followers from obviously Botswana, South Africa, Lesotho, Swaziland, and East Africa, in Kenya and Malawi. And I was very much surprised to realize that we have a big number of followers from Nigeria and Sierra Leone.
Even though Lubuas
very interesting. And Ibile Bone like they complain so much about it in the subtitle. You know, we haven't really been able to do that, but I believe that we will be able to do that. Whenever go North Africa, go West Africa. But besides Botswana, the largest number of subscribers or followers that we have is in South Africa, followed by Lesotho and Swaziland.
One of your biggest successes interviewing Mogolo Ski, you know, himself. How did you pull that off? I noticed watching it recently, or the background is not Botswana. How did you manage to pull that off? Just tell me what you can share without compromising security. How did you manage?
Well, I have always been this person. Like I said, faith and church, like they've made me, they've made me an animal inside, you know. So I believe that I can achieve everything as long as I can put my mind to it. So like that's something that I always wanted to do. Or you know what, we should do an interview with Ski or one of the former presidents and all that, you know. So I just I actually like
you are yet to interview Ramogai.
Lena like he's someone that we would like to interview as well, you know. So I just went around everyone in Ki we ski one a connection hela so like I just went around these circles you guys I need an interview with ski yara until I was able to grab his attention.
How did you get him to relax so much? Because he seems so relaxed. It's like you've known each other for a long time in that interview.
I'd say is the setting that we come with Helaron.
Yeah.
You know, as we have said the other time, relax, you know, we relax, we talk about whatever.
Yeah.
I get know one thing that I've realized one thing that I've realized about they're used to the interview is really serious. So when they get an opportunity to relax, like they just love that. You know, because every time for instance I ski at interview stuff like that. And then but if you get him from the top stuff like that, that's something that he is
he was quite open and I think it's actually one of the longest, I think. I guess I would say it's 1 hour 48 minutes. So it's very, very impressive.
Like the other thing I believe that I possess that character. Like I would just you know, like I would just bring that ambience when you're around me.
Things. I didn't know you'll ask me or push the you know, which I was quite intrigued by. But, okay, getting back to the podcast, somebody's watching, and this is obviously an entrepreneurship show. How actually do you monetize? How do you pay bills using a podcast? Somebody may be curious. How do you answer that question?
Hey, there's this thing first things first, let me address this. There's this thing YouTube the YouTubers or like the content creators but place a content on YouTube. Hey, it takes a very long time for YouTube to pay you good money. Ghana, it takes so many views, like million views or whatsoever. That's only when you can get paid handsome money.
They said the minimum 10,000.
Hey, like how I understand it is that 1 million views is 10,000 rands. How I understand it. No rent.
Yeah.
Like when you are in Botswana, like it's quite advisable that we receive South African address and all that.
Yeah.
Because
which you have done. Which you have done.
Like which we have done. Because how there is a Botswana, Botswana you cannot monetize at all. So for you to monetize through YouTube,
do they think of us just as some backward place, some village? They don't even recognize the country. You know,
I don't know. There's something that, because I always told myself that I would like to have an interview with the Minister of
Entrepreneurship.
Entrepreneurship and Minister of Transport and Communications. Why is it this? Because you cannot monetize TikTok monetize, Facebook monetize, but in other countries you can do this. I don't know why is it that, you know.
Is it just a function of the small population or just on some
at
other?
First I thought so, but there are countries in Europe like
Luxembourg,
countries
Monaco.
Croatia. Croatia. Like they have a small population, but everything go when it's a sharp way. Uruguay, South America, they have a small situation. The population. But when everything go when it's a sharp way. Like I really don't know if it's
especially the citizens. It's not a large population.
Even Qatar. So I really don't like. It's something that I'm yet to figure out.
Is it possible that perhaps our politicians and our leaders have not taken it on, or Rona as content creators, we have not mobilized or we have not lobbied to get our politicians to do something? Maybe what we need to do is to start lobbying.
Well, yeah, I would say yes to both points. Like we need to start lobbying at the same time. The leaders, they have to understand like we live in a digital era. People can just actually create jobs for themselves and other people through this.
Especially if we're going to advance the idea of the mindset change.
Exactly.
And the 4IR, all these things that we're talking about.
Yeah.
You should translate to something like this in
exactly. And this it dates back to this topic and Botswana always lose its talents to other countries.
Yeah.
Because at those other countries, go South Africa for instance, you can monetize everything go South Africa, unlike here. You get it? Yeah. So I wanted to raise that point there. Yeah, YouTube, with YouTube, it's going to be a long way. Kind of the best thing is that you should make sure that you have so many viewers from South Africa.
Yeah.
That way, brands would place the adverts into your videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they will be able to pay you something.
Yeah.
You get it? But in terms of us monetizing, we treat the podcast and the whole YouTube thing as a billboard. That's a place where we get to advertise stuff, for other brands and all that. So we monetize through.
You have regular sponsors.
Yeah, we we monetize through Zone, the regular sponsors and advertisers and all that. Currently, we have a sponsor called Kanako. They sell industrial and commercial equipment. They sponsor the podcast and all that. Sometimes we would have beverages advertising, on the podcast. Sometimes we'd have various kinds of businesses. That's basically how you should make money. But it extends to I'd say that this in Botswana, this should extend to not necessarily YouTube, but every social media, even Facebook or stuff like that. That's actually how you can make money for yourself, adverts and all that.
Because I know that the other countries, Instagram is a big one. Instagram marketing is a big. The influencers who just live off Instagram.
True.
I believe in Botswana also, but to I don't know the extent to which they've been successful. We're not going to interview. We're not going to
but mo Botswana kore it's still everything. Since the blind, it's not there yet. Low on Instagram, for instance, it's not a big medium in Botswana. Currently in Botswana, you'd say the biggest social media medium is Facebook, followed by TikTok. I think Instagram can maybe one number 3, but in level of YouTube, so
even LinkedIn.
LinkedIn ile ka go heta
Instagram.
I always hear batho ba phoshana gone ko LinkedIn.
Yeah, but I've also heard that's a medium for business, for serious things. But I guess Hoposha was serious in this context. Yeah.
No, definitely.
Yeah. Listen, going back to, you've been now on the air for 2.5 years, 3 years? How long?
2021.
2021.
So 3 years.
Yeah. So what has been, apart from interview Husky, what would you say was the highlight and the most exciting interview you've had, and why?
For me, I'd say the first interview. The first interview that we had this guy called Samok. Do you know Samok?
What's he famous for?
For drinking alcohol.
Yeah. The guys in the studio.
Yeah, Samok is this. I'd say he's a drunken master of some sort. Yeah, so we just took him and then we put him on the podcast. We interviewed him and all that. And then the reception of the first interview was just amazing. For me,
because people didn't know that about him.
Yeah, that side of him. In the land, Alimu TV being advertised, being interviewed and all that.
Yeah.
And it was really fun.
And he had some interesting things to say.
Lena, he was a very fun character. And then the reception, I think, was it was way too much. I'd say for me, that's the. Because that's something you would ask yourselves. is it it?
Yeah.
Like, is it
you
it?
debate what brand am I?
Exactly.
Yeah,
you know, gape le ha la upload gape le ipotsa, would it really hit?
If it hit,
you know,
or what?
You know,
just want a lot of things.
You know, and then
in the end, they just
and then our target was, you know what? If we can get 100 views hella from this, like would be very much happy.
Yeah.
From there, it hit
150.
Hey, like a whole lot. Because I got like narrations on both Facebook and YouTube. Hey, like in Nilele, so like I think almost 500,000 views. Yeah, for me that's the highlight. Got like the first one. That was the highlight.
Okay.
And then there is which one? For me I'd say and then there is the OZF episode. OZF is this rapper, like he's a very controversial rapper. You know,
so in here or
no, in Botswana.
What makes him controversial?
Because he speaks his mind.
Yeah.
You know, he speaks his mind. He even dropped a song dissing the government.
Yeah.
You know, so we got to have him on the show, and then how he spoke his mind, how he he just set the tone of how a podcast should be. You know, I'd say that he played a major role on how we should conduct the podcast and all that, because he was very relaxed. You could tell that he was free. You know, and like so those two ones.
Have you heard some like me where you said this one is really good and then it bombs? All of a sudden you don't understand why the viewership is so poor. When at the time you conducted it sounded like, hey, this one will do well.
No, I've never had that one. But what I've had the ones that I thought they are on a low, but they didn't high.
You
know, in terms of viewership, I've never had one where, because one thing with me is that I'd say that Kore, having been a social media blogger and having been on radio and all that, I was able to study the behavior, like the other online users.
Yeah.
So I'd say that I know who would they like and who would they wouldn't like. But sometimes they surprise me, because I would feel like this one they won't like much, but and then boom.
Yeah.
You know, I've never had one in like. I think
one thing about your show is that it exposes people and makes them accessible to the ordinary person.
Exactly.
I think that's a special skill, that I've noticed. You make people accessible, open their up, become vulnerable, open their side. Otherwise, no say it.
Humanize them.
You humanize them and more.
Yeah.
And that's a special talent for which
thank you so much.
I congratulate you.
Thank you so much.
You are, by all accounts, a celebrity now. Can you tell us the pros and cons? The pros and cons of being celebrity resulting from this. Let's start with the pros.
With the pro, well, I don't know why, but I always feel uncomfortable being addressed as a celebrity. Like, I really don't know why. Maybe it's something that I should cancel myself on, you know, because being well known and being celebrated by people, like, it's actually a blessing. You know, the pros are like that thing, like you said the other day, when you get to a bank, how full, you know, like you always cutting through the queue and all that, and to be honest, like the love is amazing from people, you know. Like you'll be having a bad day and then you get in a room and then like you light up everyone's mood there, you know, like that in a way, like it makes you feel good about yourself. You know, at the same time, like when you are well known, like there are so many opportunities that come to like to your table. You know, that's something saying already. Like being
opportunities like how?
Business opportunities come, and networking opportunities too. You know, you access people easily, like when you are well known. You know, like how you were able to access Ski or you or whoever. You know.
I was wondering.
You know. So it comes with so many good things. You know, I would always one thing that I've learned, your craft or your celebrity status is actually your business card. You know, like when you are well known, you can be reserved a seat, or not everyone or anything. You know, and you also have to be smart to realize that. You get so.
And not to abuse it.
And not to abuse it. You know, at the same time, some would say like it's a blessing and a curse at the same time, because I get in life there's a balance.
Yeah, let's talk about the cons then.
Yeah, the cons then is that like freedom you know, like there are just days where you just feel like, you know what, I just feel like just walking hella, take a walk hella and it's a hella along the like the road gap like shorts. Yeah, the shorts hella and flip-flops hella, just walking hella. But if people would see you like that, it's going to be an issue.
They'll take pictures,
you know. Yeah. Yeah, you know, you always have to keep up with the appearance, like the privacy, you know.
Isn't that also a pro how align and let the brand at
the same time
disciplining you in a way.
Yeah, at the same time, like it keeps you on the edge. Let me
not have the brand.
Yes. And like the privacy, you know, people are always interested into your personal stuff, you know. People are always interested or like who you're dating, your child's name, this and that. So like you are usually forced to like each other, like the things that are very sentimental to you, because once
protect your family.
Exactly, because once they find out, like they would weaponize Bonetas people by now, or like that very much dear to you, you know. The other one I would say, like you always have to be careful. Like you always have to be careful of what you say, because for me, I always feel like people treat me unfairly. You know, for instance, other people can say something and then they would get away with it. But if it's me, there's always a problem with me saying some things. Because like the other day I would see people.
Well, can you give a specific example of that?
Okay, like a specific example. The other time, there's this very interesting girl. He's called Tato Jessica. She's a musician, and then she's not well known that much. So like she said she's quitting music the other day, and then all the well known people around, like they in a way attacked her, like they mocked her, stuff like that. Well, now Nikki Muiti, and I love her music. And then I just watched how they got away with all that, and then I was like, if it was me, everyone would be on my case. And then there's the Miss Botswana issue. Right now, people, like, everyone is making fun.
What's the Miss Botswana issue?
Well,
forgive me if I'm not that up to date.
Currently, people are not happy with the contestants. Like for the Miss Botswana
rejected which I'm not familiar with. Why are they rejecting people?
No, Baba again, like Baba.
But you shouldn't use the word rejection.
Exactly, and
there
then
better ways of. You focus on the winners.
Exactly,
not on those who have.
You know, so Rona, like we once got under fire for saying our personal opinions, Miss Botswana, you know. But for other people, when they can just easily say.
What did people say? What was the opinion you expressed?
Okay, like the current Miss Botswana is Chombo, Chombo, you know, compared to the previous Miss Botswana, you know, and then we got attacked by that. Like we were making fun of her, stuff like that. But the other well-known people by Longor, they can see whatever that they say, and then like they would easily get away with it. You know, I once asked someone, for me, why is it like this? Why is it something? Like I get scrutinized, and then someone was, you know, I think it's because like you carry a certain influence, or people like they always expect better and and more from you. Okay, I could understand that, but at the same time I was like, but it's way too unfair. You know, because at the same time like you wish that not that I wish I can mock people whatsoever, no, but I wish that I can be free sometimes, make silly jokes, stuff like that, but I'm not able to do that anymore.
So you feel that it's stifling you in some ways.
Yeah, in some way. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm not complaining. I mean, one thing that I've learned is that a blessing is something that comes with hard work, you know. I mean, if God blesses you, like it won't be easy to maintain that blessing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I trying to allow an building like the bills that in the didn't like the electricity bills, maintenance bills, compared to like a one-room house.
Yeah.
You know,
but then it's all worth it in the end.
It's all worth it in the like in the end.
Who's the rapper who came up with more money, more problems? So maybe that's what he was referring to.
B.I.G.
Yeah, B.I.G. Notorious.
Oh, so like you into hip hop?
Yes. Oh, you know, really? I used to break dance. You know
what?
Yeah, I was a top break dancer. Buy my book and then you'll see.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So we've been there, done that in terms of celebrity. And who are your favorites? Who are your favorite stars or celebrities? I get celebrities. Who do you look up to in that area?
My favorite celebrities this one is quite difficult because I used to look up to so many people until I got to where I am now. And then I got to realize what was going on in the celebrity world. You know, I wouldn't say that I look up to any celebrity now, but I have my favorites. You know, I have my favorites. Like my most favorite celebrity in Botswana, I would say it's ATI. You know ATI? ATI. I love his music. And then there is OZF Teddy, and then there is William Lest KRM, and then there is Heinyena as well. In South Africa, I'd say my favorite used to be AKA. Unfortunately, like he was shot.
Shot him, tragically left.
Yeah, tragic. Yeah, he was. Yeah, I'd say that he was my ultimate favorite celebrity of all times. And then
I like it when you say you used to look up to celebrities, and then you no longer do that. I'm curious why that is the case. You know,
because
no longer.
Because I got to realize how what they put up with all the time. So their lives are actually difficult, you know. Like they might be having money and all that, but it's not easy. You know, like they live, you know, like a very difficult life, and it's not easy on them. Like they work all the times, you know, no rest, you know, like when they rest, you know, like they're exposed to so many like negative things like drugs, women, you know.
Women throw themselves at them.
Stuff like that.
Is that a problem you're encountering, sir?
Me?
Yeah.
Definitely not. No. Definitely
or even
not.
If you were, you wouldn't tell us. Even if that were the case, you wouldn't tell us.
You know, like if there's one thing that I'm really afraid of is to take advantage of the position where I am to entice women, you know. Like I just want to set a boundary between where I am and women now, because I know how dangerous they can be.
How do you
like
respond
for one
to these sort of innocent looking messages? Hi, what are you doing? Where are you? When you know this is trying to lull you in, either social media, through your messenger page, or through WhatsApp. How do you respond to these beautiful young ladies trying to make a move on you? How do you normally respond?
Well, I basically ignore. I just ignore. But like, it basically depends on
because I guess as a bachelor, it still shows you how you are still in the market.
I know, but I basically ignore, you know, because like I'm saying, I'm really afraid of women, Mr. Mogobe, because I've seen so many people being taken down by women, you know. You see what is happening with P. Diddy now.
I'm not sure I know the story.
P. Diddy is like, he might lose everything because of his interactions with one lady that he was dating before. you know, yeah, like he's suing him for like a whole lot of money. Apparently, like there are issues of abuse there, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. And then I mean, like
of that environment, pull him down.
Stuff like
after
that.
What happened to R. Kelly.
Exactly.
Looking for another black celebrity to bring down.
Yeah, to pull down. So I'm actually like, I'm trying to shy away from women, just like,
have you had
like a little
experience yourself?
Like with women?
Yeah.
Yes, I have.
You willing to share?
I have, yes. You know, I used to be in a very, I don't know if abusive is a very right word to use, but I used to be in a very toxic relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the person that I was in a relationship with at the time, it was very chaotic, you know. So I got
Hopefully
to understand.
Not violent. Hopefully not violent.
There was violence there. There was
being perpetrated against you.
Yes. There was violence there, and that experience actually taught me, like, I'd say that is the one that taught me that, you know what, I should stay away from women, because at the end of the day, society would never want to understand what happened for you guys to have a fight whatsoever. Like, it's always the man's fault. You know, no matter what. I mean, I've had instances whereby I was attacked numerous times, and then I was always blamed at the end of the day. You get it? I mean, sometimes you can find yourself like in a very difficult situations whereby like someone is attacking you with a weapon, and like for you to survive that, you have to defend yourself.
Did you have to get court orders and things like that?
No, like we were actually young at the time, and then like a breakup was enough.
Yeah.
You know, like a breakup was enough. And then now I look at it now, and then I'm saying, hey, I'm happy that we did break up, because I always feel like if we didn't break up, it would have ended badly.
Yeah, for one of you or for both of you.
For either. Yeah, like for either or both. You know, I always say that, for either or both, because kana do say adiragala remogo because like how mongwana attack mong. There's a point where you are like they have to defend themselves now. And with self-defense, like so many things, you know, you can use a weapon and then you kill them. At the end of the day, you go
because the bitterness has been piling up.
Exactly.
You might end up overreacting at the
time.
Know,
so like you realize
but
that with this
thing. I don't think you should use the word "I'm afraid of women" because that's what you said at the beginning. Afraid seems to be so extreme.
Yeah.
Shouldn't you say, you've learned to be careful?
But
you appreciate the right one for you is out there.
Yeah.
And you need to open up for the right one.
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes, I'm not encouraging this, you have to kiss a lot of frogs before you kiss the princess. Am I right or am I wrong?
No, like you are right. You are right.
So,
you are definitely
I don't like
right.
it when you say you are afraid.
Yeah, afraid. Yeah, it's extreme, like you say. Like it sound a little bit weak as well. You know. So I agree. So I've had a really rough experience there.
Okay. Let's flip the coin and talk positive now. What did you say is your biggest triumph or your biggest success, something about which you are most proud? I know you are proud of your child. But are you willing to share on that aspect?
I feel like I've had so many triumphs from a tender age. For instance, people don't know this, but I have a stammering problem.
Oh.
Yes. But here I am. I'm a podcaster. I was on radio. I was on TV. You know.
I mean, you guys say this. You celebrities. I mean, I've heard Steve Harvey say the same thing. I'm trying to think of another one. Guys who are speaking fluently and being loved by people. How did you overcome your stammer?
Well, I still stammer even now, but
it doesn't show.
It doesn't show, or how I really don't know. But that's something sailing. But if you would watch me and observe, I mean, like my team knows that I stammer, you know. But if you would watch and observe, you could tell that point he was stammering, you know. So like that, always to tell sometimes, and like they chip in quickly, you know. And sometimes people always complain that I use the word like a lot. Like what I would say, today I was doing like an interview with Mogobe, like, you know, that is me struggling to speak.
Oh, okay.
So like I would use like as a bridge. You get, and then I understand that apparently when I was born, like I was supposed to be a mute child. You know, like mute. I started like I started speaking Ganat after a week or whatsoever. You know,
even like, just making a noise. Like you didn't cry when you arrived.
Like I don't know about that, but like they told me that I was supposed to be a mute child and get late. Like get fluently, like at a very later stage. So for me, like those are very big times. And then what else? Studying the podcast from the jump, because at the time, well, now I understand that your podcast was existing. Then Harry Simon.
Started in 2019, but starting to interview people, we started at the beginning of 2020.
So that time, like I wasn't aware or like there were any other podcasts in the country, and then, you know, like the podcasting culture, like we made it popular. You know, like that is one of my biggest strengths as well. And having a child who's 5 years now, you know, he was recently graduating reception the other day.
Go kindergarten.
Go kindergarten, like last weekend actually. You know, so I'd say that I've had so many times then you know, like then what's the opposite? Challenges or defeats. Setbacks. You know,
and you know, which is what I think I need to ask you about. Is there a devastating setback where you had an sort of an equivalent of an uppercut and were floored completely by life that you're willing to share? And
yes, during COVID, obviously, during the pandemic, I always say that Obana, I can survive the pandemic. I can survive everything in life because the pandemic left me. I was just there. You know, I was just there existing. Like I had no financial income or whatsoever. Like I was really broke at the time, and then I was alone. I was lonely. I was depressed, and then like I got COVID.
You did?
I got COVID, and it was hectic.
Did you end up going to hospital?
Yes, like I went to the hospital, and then I was
go say it to me.
No, I wasn't hospitalized. I wasn't hospitalized, but it's blind. But fortunately, it didn't get to that point, you know. But the ambulance wheeled to my house like a couple of times. About 3 or 4 times, you know.
It didn't leave any permanent damage, I hope.
No, it didn't. I'd say that it took a while for it to completely, like stuff like that, maybe over a year whatsoever. But now I'd say that I'm okay.
How did you get through it? I mean, how did you manage to survive in looking back?
I really don't know, Remo. I don't know, because like I'm saying, I was really depressed at the time. I was really depressed, but I'd say the existence of my kid by that time and his mother, you know, because like they actually gave me hope.
You're still together?
With
the man? Oh, that's fantastic.
Like they actually gave me hope. I really hope so too. Like I really hope so. So like the biggest setback, I would say COVID, and then another biggest setback, I'd say the being broke. You know, because kinda like I said earlier, people don't know like these things.
I like how you say being broke. You're not saying being poor. Because I'm a big believer that poor is a state of mind, but true. Broke is a state of your pocket.
Definitely.
I like your choice of words.
Thank you. So like these things, like they come with a whole lot of sacrifices, like I'm saying, you know. So like you have to go. Not you have to, but there are days where you go broke for a very long time, you know. With like when I go keep the whole thing afloat. How did you resist
the temptation of just going back on radio and looking for a paycheck again when things were rough?
I would say it's because like that's a place that I like I didn't want anymore. Like I said, I felt caged in radio before, because they wouldn't allow me to be myself.
Yeah.
They wouldn't allow me to laugh out loud and to.
But you know how relatives would say, "Hey, man,
even no, true. Even now, like you would go to a family event and then you would hear, okay, like a certain relative was asking, dude, can't tell, like, how is this guy making money? Like, is he really making money? That's the time he's about so there is that, but
really terrible kind of mindset.
Exactly, but one thing with me is that I have always learned to keep my ears closed from the noise and then focus on whatever that I want to achieve.
Which is the next question I was going to ask you. What is the cure? What is the cure to being broke in your experience?
The cure to being broke?
Yeah, or how do you got over it, that challenge?
Well, like working hard and smart. Like, I'd say that's the cure. Like the sleepless nights. And networking with the right people. And also learning, like, what do you call it? There's this thing, the interpersonal skills. The interpersonal skills and social skills and all that. Yeah, I'd say like that is the cure of being broke.
Can you break it down for the viewer? What exactly do you mean by interpersonal skills being a cure to being broke? Could explain it like you explained to a child.
To a child, I was actually talking to my younger brother the other day. I'm screenshotted a text. I sent it to someone who about Spanish. And then I actually had a conversation with him. You cannot text like this. Like you should show him that, okay, first things first, like you are an intelligent person, like you know what you're talking about, you have confidence, you get it. Like don't just text another like
what's not emotional intelligence,
stuff like that. You have to know how to approach people. You have to know how to approach me. You have to know how to approach Mogobe. Like you have to approach us differently. Like the same way that you approach me isn't necessarily the same way. Like isn't necessarily like the same approach that would impress you. So
really you're talking about emotional intelligence.
I'd say so. Basically that. Also because like the problem that I have with me is that like now that I'm well known and all that, I have somehow became, I don't want to say an introvert, but I'd say I've became like I have this social anxiety.
Really? I'd never have guessed. With big crowds or just generally?
Generally, because I feel like everyone is just on my business, So I always stay away from going to people and all that, but that's something that I have to do, for me to
make a living.
To make a living, because at the end of the day I have to network. So like it gives me a hard time to network now, because whenever I think of going out to like a certain place, let's say like I have to go to Black maybe for a certain function or whatsoever,
like you're coming for on the 5th, you're coming for the book launch.
On the 5th.
You saw that we're marketing it.
Yeah, I saw that.
In case you haven't come across. And you said you are buying it, by the way.
I am. I am, definitely. And I want to negotiate a discount for my viewers.
We're already giving a big chunk of the discount. We started at $450. Now we're saying $399.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Obviously, if you buy in bulk, we'll see.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Hey, like this book. I mean, those are the kind of things that people need to buy, so that babale by Twitter, or like how do I get to, I was really impressed on the interview on Overview podcast, we are reading a book changed your life.
Completely.
Like those are the things we don't know as people,
especially reading many books.
Exactly. Those kind of things. Hey, Marimehala to tell out say that people think that just saying you buy, but hey, since all leading you know, like I'd go months really broke, really broke.
Oh, but you never guess it.
Yeah,
because you don't slow down.
Definitely.
Don't ever slow down, my brother.
No, definitely.
Don't show, because like I said, poor is mental.
Yes.
And broke is just, the pocket.
Yeah, definitely.
With and it's normally temporary.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So I'm still wanting us to deal with this one. Yeah, social anxiety. Where do you think it comes from? And you think are you winning against it, that problem?
Well, it comes from, for me, it's something that came along with the fame, because like I'm saying, people are always on your, like they always interested to know what is going on with you. Like you cannot have like your peace of mind in a public place and all that. Like they're always looking at you, or okay, like this guy, stuff like that. So that's how like I got to develop like my social anxiety. Now I would say that I always avoid crowd to stuff like that, because when I'm home, that's a place like, if you know what, like I'm at peace. And like there are so many days still like I don't feel like guests, like there are so many days still like I don't feel like calls even. But where I am, I cannot necessarily live like that, So I have recently decided to go back to church, and to reignite with my faith and all that. Yeah, I'd say that like it actually, like it is helping me.
Backslide to
nigga backslide.
More serious.
Nigga it's
oh.
Like for so many years, I think for 10 years now. So yeah, I think this is the 10th year. But I actually went back like recently, like a month ago or so. Yeah, so I'm learning how to overcome it and all that,
Okay.
But like that's something that I've realized that so many people suffer from,
Yeah.
And when they would just take something to kill that social anxiety, maybe alcohol, that's how they overcome it. Yeah, but I'd say for me, like for overcoming it, like I said, reigniting with the faith church, also reading a lot. Also reading a lot, and also like revamping your confidence at all the times.
You have 192,000 followers on Facebook. That's huge.
And
I notice you use Junior. First, let's deal with the Junior part, and then I'm going to talk about this overwhelming number of multitudes that are following you.
The Junior part.
Why Junior?
Like I said earlier, my dad, like I was named after my dad. My dad was Joey as well, so I'm Joseph Badubi Junior. So I decided to go with the name. Like I wanted to separate my the page and my personal profile. So like the page is Joseph Badubi Junior, and then my personal profile is Joseph Badubi.
Oh, that explains it.
Like that's why I don't have so many people following me and all that.
And this huge number, how are you keeping them interested in following you? How often do you post? In other words, what's your social media philosophy, especially around Facebook?
That is a difficult one, but I post randomly, like I said, I got to study their behavior, and I would say this is something that also helped my podcast a lot, because you have to be conscious, you have to post something that everyone would relate to. Exactly. So that's just how I do it. But I'm not usually, as much as I'm very thankful and blessed to have such a following, I'm not usually excited about it all the times, because I know
I'll show you how powerful you are. You just write Serobe and 497 people like you, and 52 people comment Serobe. I mean, there must be some method behind madness, as it were.
Yeah, well, it's just a matter of being conscious, at the same time being brave. Yeah, yeah, you have to be brave because, but whenever you for them or follow, they have to cook you at some point. Like they have to abuse you online at some point. Like V is one person like is a victim of that. I mean, today they love him, tomorrow they are cooking him. Hella, and
he seems to be just going ahead as if
exactly. That's where the bravery comes in. You have to be brave as well. Just know that like they want. Like they're going to hate you. Like the other. I think was it 2 weeks ago. Like I was actually trending for the wrong reasons. Like me and my co-host.
Why were you trending?
Like
for the wrong reasons?
They just went to they went to one of our old podcast episodes, and then they took like the most savage part. And then my co-host and
savage
then
means.
Savage.
Not like savage in what way? No, you know what I mean.
Like I was actually saying, I don't like the fact that Mobotswana, for you to make it, you have to be a bootlegger and you have to be selling your body or whatsoever stuff like that. But Kibuaka Setswana, you know how. Like how strong that would come out, and then like my co-host Abari, mama. So that's a mama, and then like she took that part and then manipulated it, like it was that thing like that. So people were on our case or hey, Harinabo to stuff like that, like they were wilding at us, and so I just ignored and like they were not bothering me at all. So like that's something that you actually have to have a thick skin, because when like they're actually going to abuse you at some point or misunderstand you, and then like they'll go all out on you. So
and but at least when I look for your name, there's no controversy that comes forward, so it seems like you've weathered the storm very well. I'm very, very impressed.
Yes, I actually the reason why I wanted us to talk about my character earlier is that I don't find myself a controversial person, but everyone just calls me controversial. I would ask them, okay, like what is a controversial thing that I've done? Like they won't say anything. I just have a feeling like they're just waiting for me to do something. And then like they'll pin it there.
I'll tell you where that comes from. That comes from the fact that you dig deep. You ask people about their personal lives. You ask for their sexual preferences. You really. But what I've noticed is that you don't ask anybody. But you do go personal here and there. People perceive that as controversial. It's not necessarily controversial. But understand, it's important that you understand where the thinking comes from. It comes from that, because I had to receive a couple of warnings.
Serious?
Yeah. From when you wanted to interview, I won't mention on live radio. But be careful. But can't interview. But no, but you can approach it. Watch out. Be very, very careful. And if I'm not mistaken, when my public relations guy came to see you and say, look, be careful what you know what I mean. Because you've been known to be a loose cannon, but in a good way.
Like this thing of people have this thing of they have this thing of believing that we got like our line of questioning it exists to destroy someone's life or whatsoever. No,
it's not like that at all.
No, like it's not like that. Like I say for us it's all about humanizing the guests but people relate with you when you are like them. When they can realize okay, actually Mr. Mogobe like upushitse fro ya gagwe le ene like that. It's not like when they are itatlela mo go ene or whatsoever. Stuff
just like reminded me which startled me a bit.
No.
Are you a millionaire? When did you become a millionaire? So I'm going to ask you, one, are you a millionaire? And if not, when do you intend to become one? And do you think it's important to have the bucks and to have the millions?
Yeah. Well, definitely not a millionaire. Like I wish to be a millionaire. I always believe that I would be a millionaire at 25.
At age 25.
Yeah. But hey, you know how life is. I'm not a millionaire. I want to be I actually want to become a billionaire, like a US dollar billionaire. Like that's something that I would like to achieve in my life. Having money is important. Mogobe, I mean, especially Ulemon. Like a man has to be loaded, like a man has to be financially stable, because like money just bring power. Like when you have money, like how
gives you choices.
Exactly. Yeah, so many things. You would know better.
Yeah.
At that one.
Yeah. Let me ask you what the plan is now. If you had to grab that crystal ball and forecast 5, 10, 15, 20 years, assuming in that time frame you have the big B in US dollar terms against your name, what is the plan? What is the strategy? The crystal ball saying, what is it going to emerge from, brand Joey or even brand Overview Radio, that kind of thing?
I'm starting with Overview Radio. The initial plan that we always had with Overview Radio, because is that like I said earlier, Overview Radio is a podcast network. Overview Radio. That's the name, Overview Radio, not Overview Podcast. Overview Podcast is a podcast under Overview Radio. The initial plan was to have a podcast network where we can have Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom under Overview Radio.
For instance,
other podcasts under Overview Radio. Hella yalo. I would like to build like a podcasting.
You're talking about a parent media conglomerate.
Exactly.
Under Overview
Radio.
And then with branches.
Yeah.
Comprising several podcasts.
Exactly.
Several things, books and things like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want to create a media empire.
Exactly. Like that's what I would like to. I would like to be a media mogul one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you fashioning yourself after Oprah Winfrey, or for instance, who's the other guy in Atlanta?
Which one?
The guy who plays Madea.
Tyler Perry.
Yeah. Are you fashioning yourselves after such people?
Yeah, most definitely. Oprah Winfrey, Steve Harvey, definitely, because I get Steve Harvey, we have so many similarities. I mean, the stammering and all that.
Yeah.
He's one guy that I follow and like a whole lot. Whenever Tyler Perry, that's where I'm fashioning myself. I definitely like to. I have this thing. I have this urge to create employment. I can see how digital spaces, the digital space is not utilized in Botswana.
It's underutilized.
Yeah, it's underutilized. Totally, like in Africa as a general. Like in general.
Yeah, but I want to press you a bit further. What's emerging? What exactly? I'm sure you thought about this.
Yeah.
We're talking buildings. What are we talking? How is your media empire going to look like? If you go back to this tape or this conversation.
Yeah.
And compare it to reality 20, 30 years from now, what are we going to see?
Overview Radio. I'm with so many podcasts under it, having Nigerian podcasts, Ghanaian podcasts, South African podcasts, Zimbabwean podcasts under it, and having having buildings everywhere. Having this physical addresses everywhere, everywhere we go. I mean, we also have so many Africans living in the diaspora. Would like to create podcasts for them as well. Kobo UK, we have a large number of Botswana going there, and Australia as well. We have a large number following from UK and Australia. Those places. Would like to tap those places as well. Try to create something for them as well. Yeah.
I wonder whether you are planning to be mentored by somebody who's done this before, or you'll carry on with the books to achieve this, or what? In other words, is there a blueprint that you're working on to create that vision?
No, there's no blueprint that I'm working on. It's just an idea, hella, like that I would like to create, hella, from scratch, But obviously, maybe, like, if possible, there's someone who has done that before. Yeah, like, I would definitely like to be mentored by that person or whoever, and then learning as well.
Even from a distance, they can mentor you through reading their books and learning from them.
Exactly, then learning as well, Okay. I believe that as much as you have a mentor, like, you have to learn on your own as well. That's why I read a lot lately.
This is where you get to ask me a question, sir. You have one?
Just one. Hey, there's a lot.
Because you asked me a lot last time.
Why did you decide to start a podcast? Besides the entrepreneurship part.
Yeah, I've answered that in the book. I answered that also in our podcast together. But let me re-answer it. I told you about my 4 pillars in terms of, if you think in terms of things that drive me, that I want to enthuse, energize, inspire, and empower. So I felt from embarking on my personal development journey that there's no need for me to keep these things to myself. So I spread them to fellow Botswana, fellow members of the public, and my followers to empower, so that we empower ourselves as a society. Also in the context of the mindset change. I think people have to improve their money consciousness. They have to improve their personal development skills. And the reason for the existence of this podcast is to promote entrepreneurship, and obviously to promote the culture of entrepreneurship, and also to I like your word there, to humanize entrepreneurs. Because before I started this podcast, I thought entrepreneurship was really struggling in Botswana. But I've discovered over the last 4 years, we have a lot of thriving, upcoming entrepreneurs out there. The only thing that's lacking is that we're not celebrating them enough. And people are achieving feats and unbelievable. And the number of manufacturers I've interviewed, the number of captains of industry I've interviewed tells me that we are ready. We are ready to really experience that sort of exponential turn as a community in terms of going forward. So, to answer your question, one, the purpose for the for the podcast is being achieved, and the results of having established it are being experienced. Now, to have somebody like Joey, a top celebrity like you, calling me and inviting me to your podcast and seeing value in what I offer, that for me is an achievement. It's a huge achievement. So I think that's the best way I can answer the question. But if you want real detail, the nitty-gritties of it, because there's a whole chapter where I deal with podcasting here. So just give me $3.99, and the book is yours. And you'll find out more on that particular question.
Don't you ever feel, because every time like how we get podcast, I get like having the conversations, I get one now, okay, there's Joey, then there's this one, your name always comes up, I get Mogobe as well. So someone asked Mogobe go so like, how does that make you feel, Hella? I would like to believe that you're the oldest podcast around. I've never.
I'm 58, like I'd say, and I've seen podcasters in their 60s. I've seen podcasts. I don't know the age of Joe Rogan, but I can safely say he's a lot older than me. It's not about age as in a number. And Alea told us a long time ago, age ain't nothing but a number. So Totanai doesn't bother me. I've been doing this for 4 years now, and to be honest, I'm glad they never say it to my face, because my dad, there's one thing, my dad passed early in the late 80s, but no, who are you calling? You look around, because you don't want to think of yourself as decrepit and old, tired. I still do my 120 push-ups every morning. And there are guys that I can beat who are a lot younger than me. I still do my 10,000 steps. So I'd like to think I still have a lot of spunk in me.
Yeah. Yeah, but for me, like it's always, for me, I see it as a sign of respect and admiration.
Okay.
Because like I've never seen or heard anyone like having to say anything negative about you whatsoever. Like automatically, like you being there, like you already see you like as our father in the game.
Oh, okay.
Like I know already, like if something might happen to me, like regarding podcasting and all that, if there's a parent that I can go have a conversation with about it's you.
I will understand.
You get it.
I've walked the walk and I'm experiencing
exactly. So for me, like we see it as a like they always say it like like with a tone of admiration.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when I go to that's how it always goes. Hey, man, there's a whole lot of money.
So that's good. It's good.
Lastly, like, can I ask like
the last one?
Yeah, the last one. Yeah.
But remind them for detail as early as tomorrow.
Yeah.
Actually, it won't be tomorrow by the time this ends.
Yeah, it won't be tomorrow.
On Friday.
Yeah.
I'll be all over your podcast, so
definitely.
You can hear more there. Yeah.
Lastly, where did you decide to invite me to your podcast?
I was extracting retribution.
Oh,
I was revenging.
Oh,
no. I felt that you and I got along because I really felt that it'd be fun.
Yeah.
And kind of we are a community of podcasters.
Yeah.
I invite Mompoloki. I don't know whether you watched him, and anybody out there who's a podcaster, I would take any opportunity to promote them.
Yeah.
And I don't discriminate, but certainly podcasters have a special place in my heart because they do what I do.
Yeah.
I've had lawyers here because I'm a lawyer. I've had entrepreneurs here because I'm an entrepreneur, and I've had people in the restaurant space because I'm a restaurateur, and other people in the space hospitality, and all the areas in which I'm active. It's easier for me to ask questions, especially real estate, because that's where I'm steeped already. So I hope I've answered your 3 questions. But now it's your turn to look at that camera there. And talk to that viewer, leave them with something inspirational, one uplifting message as we wrap up our conversation.
To the nuggets. To the nuggets out there, thank you so much for having me on your podcast and for watching me. It's quite an honor for me to be here because like I said, we treat Mogobe as a father in the game. So like it's quite interesting to have a conversation with him in his platform. We actually did an interview with him the other day. So after you watch this, make sure that when is it dropping? Like it's going to drop like at a later stage.
I might jump the queue though. It will jump. I think it will drop before Christmas.
Okay, If you haven't seen it yet, when you finish this episode, go to Overview Podcast and then check out our episode with Mogobe. But Nahela, like my final word to you guys is that whatever that you do, keep on believing that you can achieve it. Hey, no matter what, be patient with yourself. You have nothing to lose at the end of the day. I always say when you try, it's either you lose, it's either you fail, and by failure you don't lose anything, and another thing, you can win everything that you've ever wanted. So just try. Just try. The digital space is open. I always encourage people to venture into podcasting. Like there are so many podcasting ideas that you can delve in, health podcasting, like a lot, guys, a lot, so many things, let us, like you can start it, you can always improve as you go. You should see us like our first episode in
came up with the idea. I forgot to ask you that. Can I squeeze in that question?
Yeah, you can.
What's the idea behind it, and how do you create that thing?
Oh, like there's a sound effect, there's a sound effect machine. You connect it to the sound system, and then you press it, and then Yeah, it goes.
It's quite ingenious.
So like we have muted it, so like in dira on the PC hell. Go riska ya go tlhodi ya ke like ne re feel re kana mogolo a batli mo. So like on the episode ya go super. But yeah, it's something that seriously winning hell on TV shows before and all that, and then we were like, you know what? And like the nicest thing is that you can always customize it. Koro khona go tsenya modumo ereng Mogobe nuggets, and then you press it. Ebe dira like that.
Tell them where to access you, all your contacts, social media and elsewhere, just for the record.
Yeah, guys, Joseph Badubi Junior across all social media platforms. If you want to highlight me, or like if you want to book me, if you want to give me like call me for a certain job or whatsoever, just email joebadubi management@gmail.com, or simply text or call +267 7654 8143 +267 7654 8143.
If they want to appear on the podcast?
Like if you want to appear on the podcast, like just send an email to overviewpodcast@gmail.com. Like basically send your profile there and your request there, like the production team will basically handle it, and then we'll definitely.
People are on the move. They need a WhatsApp number for the podcast.
Do you have one? Like the WhatsApp number is +267 7654 8143. +267 7654 8143. I'm used to this +267 thing because we have viewers outside the country.
It's a very good thing.
So like they always get confused and all that. So I always
so
have
much.
to.
You've been a brilliant guest.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful job. You hit it way outside the park.
Let
me express my personal gratitude and thanks.
Thank you so much.
So generously, sir.
Thank you so much.
Legamos.
All right. Sure.